Hello everybody, my name is Christian, and with another update around the corner, it's time to talk about who you should pull in version 4.3 of Honkai Star Rail. After both a very intense story and a phenomenal banner selection with both Silverwolf and Evanescea, 4.3 is expected to be another calm before the storm patch. That doesn't mean it's bad though by any means. In this update, we have Mordenak's Blade coming out, the newest Generalist to be added into HSR. Generalist doesn't really do him justice though, because he is so much greater than just another support. With amazing debuff capabilities, and a kit that naturally does a lot of damage as well, Mordenak's Blade is going to be far from an easy skip for any player, especially if you're a fan of a certain purple-haired Emanator. We'll be talking about all of that and more today, so get ready viewers. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, become a YouTube member down below, and with that said, let's get into it. Let's pause and take a brief word from our sponsor, Gamesco. As Star Rail constantly releases characters better than the last, players won't have enough Jades to keep up. This is where the sponsor of today's video comes in, Gamesco. This is an all-in-one marketplace for all your favorite games and services. They offer top-ups at a more affordable price than in-game, and can even activate your first top-up bonus if you haven't used it already. It's also totally safe, not requiring any of your login information, and having a money-back guarantee. All you have to do is click the bundle you want, put in your server and UID, and your top-up will appear in-game shortly after. On top of all of this, they offer top-ups for more than HSR, having offers for ZZZ, Genshin, Wuthering Waves, and so much more. You can use my link in the description or pinned comment to start saving now. Thank you to Gamesco for sponsoring, and now, let's get back to the video. Alright, so before we get into the characters, I have some additional things to share like usual. From the special program, we've learned that the Fate collaboration will be getting a part 2, featuring Gilgamesh and Rin Tosaka as the new characters. Rin is Quantum Air Edition, and Gilgamesh is Lightning Destruction. On top of this, you also have the choice to get a free Archer or Gilgamesh starting in version 4.4. This offer expires in version 4.6, I believe, so just make sure to claim it as early as you can. Rin won't be free as a surprise to absolutely nobody, so I would highly recommend saving up now if you're interested in getting her and her light cone. In the same vein, we also had Himiko Nova announced for version 4.4, and with her being the new non-collab character of that banner, I would highly recommend saving up now if you want her. She is likely to be our next main push for version 4.x, and is the first one to not be Elation for those of you who are not fans of that path. Now, with all that said, we can finally begin our banner talk for the day. Let's start with the man that has a snatchable waist like no other, our emo king, Mordenak's Blade. Blade is a Fire Nihility 5-star, and like I mentioned earlier, is a phenomenal debuffer and generalist support. After Welt was completely reworked into being a total powerhouse, and the last debuffer in Cypher being a bit underwhelming to most players, Blade is in an awkward spot where he really has to impress to get people pulling him. Luckily, he has done exactly that, with a powerful kit that is built for the modern era of Honkai Star Rail. Let's start with the bread and butter of the new Blade, his ultimate. His ultimate is called Fornax Ex Corpore. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce it, by the way. This ult will do two things. First, it will unleash a zone on the field for 2 turns. This zone reduces enemy defense and increases enemy damage taken by substantial amounts. Next, Blade will enter an enhanced form for the duration of his ult. In this form, he will have access to an enhanced basic attack, an extremely powerful skill that is otherwise unavailable, and a new damaging ultimate ability. Starting with skill, this is called A Rain of Blades Seals Fate. This skill doesn't consume any skill points when used, and will consume Blade's HP to deal massive damage to all enemies. His skill actually has even more to it, however. On Mordenak's Blade's icon, there is a charge count. This charge count goes up whenever an ally attacks an enemy with his zone up. When you reach 9 points of charge, Blade will unleash another instance of his skill, much like how a Nexo will fire an extra skill when his conditions are met. This skill is also considered as a follow-up attack despite being skill damage. This is extremely powerful. It makes it so that he lends himself extremely well to follow-up teams and DPS with high attack rates. Next up is his other ultimate, Tenax per Ignum. I love these names, oh my god. This is an ultimate Blade can use when in his enhanced state that does massive damage to all enemies on the field. The nice part about this ultimate is, it won't screw you over from losing your enhanced state. When the zone dispels, Blade will actually regenerate a set amount of energy that gets him close to his ult again. This means you're free to use his full destructive power without worrying about not having your ultimate zone back up ASAP. There is a bit more to Blade overall, but the final note I want to make is that his zone isn't just increased damage for your allies. When the zone is active, Blade will increase his own damage substantially, unless there is another Nihility character on the team. If that's the case, Blade will instead additionally increase ultimate damage dealt by all ally characters. I wonder, dear viewers, who that could be for. It's obviously Welt. I mean, they showed him in the trailer. Oh wait. Blade overall has a phenomenal moveset that advances on the Nova Flare changes they just gave to Welt. An extremely potent debuffer who will serve as a top option for any team, while also having powerful damage of his own, and a more specific niche to make him shine even brighter. This character is going to be extremely potent going forward, and I cannot recommend him enough for most players. You should pull Mordenak's Blade if you're looking for a Tribby upgrade, you want to make Acheron great again, or you have teams that could benefit from a general purpose debuffer / HP scaling support. Blade is essentially the second coming of Tribby, and while not a perfect match for everything she does, he still heavily excels in many of the same ways. Consistent AoE attacks, out-of-turn actions with his extra skill, and amazing debuffs and damage increases that are definitely better if both characters are at E0. His synergy with Acheron is pretty obvious, and he is seemingly a Dahlia level boost for her if you miss getting to use Acheron consistently. Lastly, with his massive HP pool and consistent drain, he can actually pair well alongside Mono Rem if you want one of those characters elsewhere. His best sustain is also Hyacinth, so things work out perfectly in that regard. Blade has a lot of uses and is overall one of the better supports we've seen in quite some time. This is someone I genuinely think any HSR player could make use of, and I know Blade fans everywhere are rejoicing about that. This now takes us to the reruns and 4 stars of this patch. I usually do 4 stars and light cones a little later into the video, but as per usual, there isn't much to say, so let's just get it out of the way. On the first half banners, we have Sampo, Luca, and Ting Yun available. As for 4-star cones, we have Good Night Sleep Well, Day 1 of My New Life, and The Moles Welcome You. On the second half banners, we have March, Arlen, and Yukong available, alongside the light cones, Dance Dance Dance, Subscribe for More, and A Secret Vow. Out of everything here, the only things worthy of note are Ting Yun and Dance Dance Dance. Ting Yun is a great 4-star with energy regen capabilities, who is a fantastic user of the light cone Dance Dance Dance. DDD is a harmony light cone that allows you to advance the actions of all your allies when using ultimate. It is incredibly powerful, and I cannot recommend it to players enough. Outside of those two, there is no new 4 stars, and there likely never will be, sadly. Let's now move on to the banner running alongside Mordenak's Blade. We have the first rerun for the Queen of Divinations, and the general rizzing up every woman on Plan Arcadia, Yao Guang. Yao Guang is a physical Elation 5-star, released in version 4.0, and she is the backbone of Elation teams right now. Her unique ability to activate an AHA instant whenever she ults has been invaluable to every Elation team right now. It gives massive damage, more comfortability, and she herself is capable of contributing some decent damage while having the most utility of any Elation character right now. She is an absolute game changer for these teams, and since many players didn't end up getting her when she first ran, this is the time to lock in and grab her so that your teams can start reaching their full potential. Let's quickly go over what exactly she's capable of. Yao Guang has a basic attack that can hit multiple enemies, and will regenerate as much energy as her skill so she can remain SP positive. Her skill deploys a zone that increases elation for all allies, and makes it so that whenever Yao Guang does an action, she will gain punchline. Yao's ult, as previously mentioned, will activate an AHA instant at a fixed 20 punchline. This will also increase the all-type res pen of your entire team by 20%. Lastly, her elation skill. Yao Guang's elation skill will hit all enemies and make them take 16% increased damage. Overall, Yao Guang is a phenomenal buffer for specifically elation, and what she offers to those teams is invaluable. She has turned out to be an extremely powerful character, which, for me personally, is absolutely wonderful to see. You should pull Yao Guang if you have an Elation team. If you have Sparksy, Silverwolf, or Evanescence on your account, this character should be a non-negotiable. She is simply incredible for all of them, and will drastically improve their performance in all game modes. While this is only her first rerun, I really wouldn't recommend waiting until the next one. Grab her now, and thank me later. Now we can move on to the second half banners. There's only 2 this time around, but they offer some very impressive characters to say the least. In the second half, we see the first rerun of Cyrene, and the second rerun of Phynon. Let's start with Pink Jesus Redux herself, Cyrene. Cyrene is an Ice Remembrance 5-star released in version 3.7. She's the ultimate support for Chrysosairs, and has since found some usability outside of those teams as well. Her kit is extremely unique and powerful, and as we'll learn later, her Eidolons definitely follow suit. Starting with her skill, this summons a zone that lets all allies do true damage when they attack. This also helps charge Cyrene's ultimate, granting her 3 recollection points. Cyrene needs 24 recollection points after battle starts to activate her ultimate, Verse Vow. When Cyrene activates her ult, it will summon her Memo Sprite and immediately give all characters their ultimates. She will then enter the Ripples of Past Reverie state, increasing her crit rate and granting her an enhanced basic attack. Lastly, the effect of her zone on skill is now permanent, so she never needs to recast it. Cyrene's ult is extremely unique, as if you have a Chrysosair on your team, each one of them can gain an extremely unique and personalized buff from Cyrene. It would be a lot to show them all on screen, but for reference, not all these buffs are created equal. The absolute best buffs in my opinion belong to Anexa, Ceridra, Mighty, and Castorus. Hysilens and Agalias are also very good. Upon activating ult for the first time, you can grant 1 buff to any ally you choose, and Cyrene will gain 2 stacks of story. You will then have another use of ultimate ready to go if you want to buff another ally. Upon using the second ultimate, you will gain another stack of story, and when Cyrene has 3, her Memo Sprite will immediately gain an extra turn, and use the attack Minuet of Blooms and Plumes to deal damage to all enemies. Cyrene will always gain 1 stack when using her ult going forward, and she will be able to fire this bonus attack every time she reaches 3 stacks. One last note, after the initial use of ultimate, you only need 12 recollection points to cast it again. Sorry for how complicated that was. Cyrene is a pretty hard character to fully explain. She has a lot going on, but is genuinely an incredible character, with a lot of diversity and uniqueness in her kit. While she definitely excels the most with Chrysosairs, she can still serve well in teams with Evanesia or Saber. This is a character that is a little limited, yes, but not nearly as much as people tend to believe. She can still be a worthwhile pickup for your account, and I stand by that. You should pull Cyrene if you have Mighty, Anexa, Mono-Rem characters, or you're willing to invest for other teams. With Cyrene, getting her for Chrysosairs is pretty easy at E0. They charge up her ult fairly fast, all things considered. For other characters like Evanesia, Saber, or really anyone else, investment may be a bit more necessary. It's not impossible to make it work without the investment, it would simply be much easier, and I know that matters a lot to many players. Either way, Cyrene is aging well so far, and she could age even better with many new characters on the horizon. Next up in our final character of the patch, the sun destined to rise, Phynon. Phynon is a physical destruction 5-star released in version 3.4. This is his second rerun, so most people know what Phynon does at this point and how strong he is. This is a character with a lot of strength who has a lot of flexibility within his teams thanks to his unique design. Everything about Phynon revolves around his ultimate, he who bears the world must burn. Phynon accumulates core flame points to activate this ultimate. He gains them through allies using abilities on him and using his base skill. When he has 12 and can activate his ult, he will transform and create a territory. In this field, it's only the enemies and Phynon left, and they are trapped in there with him. All of his abilities become enhanced, gaining a stronger basic attack, a new counter attack, and enhancing his skill to Foundation, Star Def Verdict. This attack is extremely powerful, dropping massive meteors on the heads of his enemies, decimating them. Phynon will continue in this enhanced form for a few turns until eventually his timer is up and he must return to the cycles. When this happens, he will launch a final hit, distributing damage to all enemies on the field. Your job then restarts, with your goal being to get Phynon his ultimate back as fast as humanly possible. Phynon is a character that many players have felt doesn't leave much room for skill expression. He is very good, yes, but there's not many advanced techniques or really any ways to abuse his mechanics in a lot of cases. Personally, I'm fine with that. His animations are gorgeous. His playstyle is unlike anything else in this game, and his kit design is super interesting, with a lot of planning being required to use him to the fullest. I love this character a lot, and while he has definitely slowed down compared to some others, he is still an absolutely incredible character. You should pull Phynon if You want a DPS that can work everywhere, and you have a lot of hypercarry supports available. Fine on right now if you want him to succeed, really wants his E2 with a full team. However, having Ceredra available, as well as good supports like Sunday, Bronya, and Sparkle, can still make him pretty great at E0S1. He has a high amount of flexibility, and could be that perfect pickup if you have some of these hypercarry supports available on your account. That wraps up all of the banners for today, but as you all know, we aren't done yet. Now, we begin the investment section, where I tell you how to invest in your teams so you don't brick your account. We have some characters with very powerful investment levels today, so let's get into it. As a quick note here, unless Gilgamesh is the worst 5-star in HSR history, you should probably be grabbing him over Archer, I feel. He is likely to be very powerful, and should be a great help for your account. Now, first up to talk about is Yao Guang. Yao Guang investment is interesting, as her E2 is just decent, but her E1 is very good. Her light cone is also very good for your team as a whole, granting them crit rate and crit damage, and the wearer gets energy regen and speed. E1 on the other hand changes Yao's ult to have the fixed punchline for AHA instance be 40 instead of 20. On top of this, all elation damage now ignores 20% of an enemy's defense. While the light cone is great for comfort overall, E1 is definitely the way to go if you want the most overall damage for your elation team. Next up is Cyrene. Cyrene has been known as an E2 merchant since she came out, and it is extremely powerful to be fair. Between just her light cone or E1, neither really stand out an insane amount. Remembrance cone alternatives aren't the best, so I would say going for the cone is probably a better choice. This will increase speed, enemy damage taken, and crit damage for your team. E1 on the other hand grants more recollection points when Cyrene uses her Memo Sprite attack, and it makes it far stronger. This is definitely ideal for DPS Cyrene, but for standalone value, I do think a light cone is going to be better. If you for sure plan on getting Cyrene E2 in the future, I would suggest getting E1 since it gets you closer to that goal. Lastly is Finon. Finon E1 versus cone is very easily the light cone in my opinion. It gives base speed, defense ignore, and a massive damage boost that works super well for Finon. E1 is okay, increasing his damage and giving him a higher speed inheritance during ult, which can get him an extra turn. While this is still decent, I still think light cone is very easily the way to go. One last note, Finon E2 is one of the best Eidolons in the game. It is a massive damage and potential boost, so if you have the ability to get it, it will improve him to such a genuinely massive level, it's not even funny. And that wraps us up for today. I had a lot of fun making this video like always, and I'm super excited for version 4.3 and getting to see more about Himiko before her new form releases. Tell me in the comments who you guys are excited to get, or if you need any help deciding. I got plenty more good videos coming out soon, so I'll see you guys then. Bye bye!